I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life.
At 16, you knew not to keep pounding your fist on that pillow with that little baby.
Do you remember Philip Chisholm? Most 14-year-olds worry about homework, but he plotted a crime that changed lives forever. And when the judge said life in prison, his reaction shocked everyone in the courtroom. The courtroom is silent.
He knew exactly what he was doing and has never shown remorse.
Yet the weight of impending justice hangs heavy. The judge carefully explains the consequences of rejecting plea agreements and the reality of life sentences. It is a moment that highlights the gravity of the legal system and the responsibility it carries in protecting the public. Some cases are so extreme that the law must balance accountability with the hope of rehabilitation, leaving families and communities grappling with shock and disbelief.
Animal behind bars to the maximum possible sentence. Do not give this coward the opportunity to shatter another family's lives.
Take, for example, 14-year-old Philip Chisholm, a 9th grader whose actions shook his school community. On October 22, 2013, Chisholm was involved in a pre-planned attack against his teacher, Colleen Ritzer, a dedicated educator who stayed late for extra lessons. He had prepared for the encounter in advance, bringing items that suggested premeditation. The result was a tragedy that stunned the community and left lasting consequences for everyone involved. Throughout the court proceedings, Chisholm appeared largely unresponsive to the emotional testimonies of the victim's family. Attorneys argued that he was mentally unstable.
The court will impose the mandatory life sentence for the murder of Colleen Ritzer and set a parole eligibility date of 25 years, the highest level our law allows.
But the evidence suggested he understood the seriousness of his actions. He faced multiple charges, and the judge made it clear that the court's priority was to protect the public and ensure accountability. His case served as a sobering reminder of how young individuals can make choices that dramatically impact lives. Other young offenders have similarly shocked the public with their actions and courtroom behavior. 19-year-old Brandon Spencer, for example, opened fire at a crowded Halloween party, injuring several individuals.
I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes. But I'm not just some gangbanger that she tried to portray me as.
During the trial, Spencer attempted to justify his actions, but the jury found him guilty, and he received a lengthy prison sentence. His case highlighted the risks associated with gang affiliations and the dangerous consequences of impulsive decisions in high-stress situations. 15-year-old Conrad Schaefer of Osceola County was involved in a series of violent incidents that affected his community. With friends, he engaged in criminal activity that led to the injury of several people and property damage. He eventually pleaded guilty to multiple charges, receiving life sentences. The court noted that, had he been older, the consequences could have been even more severe, emphasizing the seriousness with which the legal system treats these offenses. Cases like Martis Fuller further illustrate the unpredictable courtroom behavior of young offenders. Fuller was involved in a violent incident with his ex-girlfriend. During his trial, he showed little emotion, maintaining his innocence while expressing remorse through his attorney. He was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment without extended supervision. His detachment in court left observers astonished and underscored the complexity of youth behavior when facing legal consequences. Similarly, Jennifer Mee, once known for her teenage fame as the Hiccup Girl, became involved in a criminal case that resulted in a life sentence without parole. Alongside her co-defendants, she participated in a robbery that led to a death. Mee's case highlighted how early attention and celebrity can sometimes intersect with poor decision-making, resulting in irreversible consequences for all involved. 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante also made national headlines due to the severity of her actions. She was involved in a tragic incident with a young neighbor, for which she eventually pleaded guilty to a reduced charge. She was sentenced to life imprisonment with eligibility for parole after several decades. The case demonstrates how extreme decisions made in adolescence can have consequences lasting a lifetime, both for the offender and the community. Nicholas Cruz, at 19, carried out one of the deadliest school attacks in U.S. history, resulting in multiple fatalities and injuries. During sentencing, Cruz claimed remorse, but observers noted a lack of visible emotion and genuine empathy. He received life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. This case serves as a reminder of how access to dangerous tools and premeditated behavior can amplify the consequences of youthful decisions. Courtroom reactions are not always detached. High school student Keandra Cook orchestrated a robbery, but later cooperated with authorities, receiving a reduced sentence. Her genuine remorse and willingness to take responsibility demonstrated that not all young offenders react the same way in court. On the other hand, Donta Wright, involved in the death of a fellow student, showed no remorse, receiving decades in prison. These contrasting reactions reveal the complexity of youth behavior when confronted with justice. even younger offenders, like 13-year-old Antonio Barbo and 14-year-old Nathan Pop, became involved in severe criminal incidents. While both expressed regret during proceedings, the severity and premeditation of their actions led to life sentences. Their cases highlight how even small actions can escalate into significant consequences, reinforcing the importance of guidance and supervision during adolescence. Matthew Borges, 18, faced trial for an extremely serious incident involving another student. His behavior in court showed emotional detachment, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment with parole eligibility after 30 years. Similarly, Dylan Schumacher, 16, faced serious charges after a tragic incident involving a child under his care. Despite attempts at apology, Schumacher received a lengthy sentence, showing that youth, inexperience, and poor decision-making can have lifelong consequences. Shondell Jackson, 18, was involved in a robbery that ended tragically. During his sentencing, he reacted violently, requiring intervention from officers. Jackson was sentenced to life without parole, reflecting the court's priority on public safety and the seriousness of the offense. This case also emphasizes the emotional toll such incidents have on the families of victims and the communities affected. The phenomenon of extreme youth crime also extends to teenage couples, such as Sierra Halseth, 16, and Aaron Guerrero, 18. They were convicted of the murder of Halseth's father. While Aaron displayed emotional breakdowns in court, Sierra remained detached. Both were sentenced to life, with the possibility of parole after several decades. Their case illustrates how complex interpersonal dynamics and past traumas can influence criminal behavior, requiring careful consideration by courts and families alike. These cases collectively demonstrate the disturbing spectrum of youth crime, ranging from premeditated offenses and group-influenced actions to impulsive mistakes with severe consequences. Courtroom behavior ranging from emotional detachment to genuine remorse provides insight into the varied ways young individuals respond to accountability. Some show regret, some defiance, but all highlight the long-term impact of their actions on families and communities. The stories of Chisholm, Spencer, Schaefer, Fuller, Mee, Bustamante, Cruz, Cook, Wright, Barbo, Borges, Schumacher, Jackson, and Halseth reveal recurring themes: premeditation, influence from peers, access to tools, and emotional detachment. Courtrooms serve as a place not only for sentencing, but also for understanding the broader context of youth behavior, rehabilitation potential, and public safety concerns. Ultimately, these cases force society to confront difficult questions about morality, accountability, and the capacity for poor decision-making at a young age. Judges, juries, and families must balance punishment with rehabilitation, ensuring the community is protected while considering the potential for growth and change in young offenders. Sentences ranging from decades to life imprisonment reflect both the seriousness of the actions and the risks posed to others. From the calculated actions of Philip Chisholm to the tragic events involving Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero, these cases highlight the importance of supervision, intervention, and addressing the psychological and social factors that contribute to youth crime. Communities must grapple with these outcomes while striving to prevent future tragedies. Even as the details of these incidents leave a lasting impression, they remind us that young lives, choices, and consequences are deeply intertwined, often with irreversible effects. Enjoyed this video? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the most shocking true stories and courtroom moments.